Welcome, boys and girls, ladies and gents. I'm Josh. I'm a driving instructor. I used to be a qualified teacher before being a driving instructor. To be honest, it just sucked, in my opinion. So I left. But the point is, I have some teaching experience as well. Now, how great is YouTube live? How awesome is that? I try and talk about this driving stuff to my wife and kids, and they're just like, "Dad, what the hell are you talking about? I really don't care." How nice is that? I can come on here, talk to you guys about what I love, and you guys can even ask me questions talk as well, like a community, about what you about as well. Um, Also, with COVID around the corner, I say it, but no one can actually speak to each other. Can't see anyone in real life. So it's nice that we can go. There's so many people out there that are learning to drive, wanting to drive, but can't actually drive. I want this to be a place to come to discuss. It's not a teaching environment. It's not me telling you what's what. Very much my opinions only. I'm not coming as a professional driving instructor. Really want it to be where everyone can discuss whatever they want, really around driving. Maybe you're a driving instructor, and maybe you drive, or maybe catcher. As I say, I'd really like this to be a weekly thing. How it goes a weekend. Now, I will quickly mention anyone that knows me in real life knows that I am a of a cursor. I have promised myself I am going to try and avoid it at all costs on the stream, but if whatever reason it slips out, don't say it in headphones. So today I've had quite a few questions from viewers suggesting what they'd like me to talk about on the live stream. So I thought, first of all, um, start off with. So first question was from Devora. She suggested when will tests be opening back up? Really good question. Prime time. So let's start with that. So the honest answer is, got a clue. Not a clue. I don't even know if Boris knows. Back up. Now he has suggested that schools are going to open back up on the 8th of March, which would be absolutely lovely. Um, Unfortunately, they do not count driving instructing part of education. Therefore, we will not be going back on the 8th of March. That's for sure. Um, we are likely to be going back on the 22nd of March when they've actually said the roadmap for non-essential shops will be opening back up. Um, yeah, after school, expected the next area to open up is non-essential shops. So likely when driving instructors are back, and this is when I think. Well, now this could change. This is no definite answer, but it's likely that 22nd of March when lessons are probably going to end, probably, and um, driving tests as well. Um, Fuck. Okay. Also asked Devora, test is booked on the 11th. Is it likely to go ahead? Well, you didn't actually say if it's the 11th of February, March, or April. If it's February by now, I really hope you've realised that it's not going to go ahead. March, again, very, very unlikely. I know schools go back on the 8th, but driving tests, unless you're a critical worker, very unlikely. April, got a chance of us going ahead if it's in April. But that's just my opinion. Can't definitely say either way. Sleeves, gotta be done. Okay. So question 2. EVSA booked test 3 months away from the booking. Cancelled it and rebooked it. What should I do? Good question. Me? Booking. I mean, first of all, you've got to ask yourself, how ready are you? Are you still feeling really confident for the test? Are you thinking, I could go tomorrow and smash that driving test, no problem? If that's the case, then phone or text your driving instructor, just have a quick chat with them. Okay? They're not there to rip you off. They don't care about your money. Our ears. They're going to give you honest feedback to say whether or not you're ready. They want to look professional, and they want you to go in professionally and pass first time. The last thing they want to be second guessing and way upset. Um, so if you are ready, have a chat with them and just make sure they're agreed. If they are, I honestly cannot say this enough. It's a cancellation driving app. Okay. So this one here, there's hundreds of them out there, literally hundreds. Phone, both on Apple, both on Android, both on the computer. I advise people to use driving center cancellations now. Um, they all cost around the same and they all do the exact same thing. However, a lot of students have not had any of them having any issues where they've got to phone the company or message the company. Um, the app's not working properly. It just works and it does what's meant. So if you don't want any hassle, I'd advise you not too bothered and you the quick thing. Find that first thing on the App Store. I hope that answers your questions. Get the cancellation app. Literally get a test. Had people phone me 2 days before the test. Josh can do a driving test, 2 days, 8 a.m. Okay. So literally, it's that quick. You won't know, the day before. You won't know a month before. You'll only know sort of 2 weeks before, maybe less. But worth every penny if you want your test quick and you're ready. Okay, question 3. Katie suggested how to merge onto slip roads and not feel nervous. This is a very good question. Now, the first thing I will say with this is it's practice. Practice, practice, practice with a driving instructor. Um, that's how to really be nervous. Also a case of understanding why it's safe to do, how to do it safely, and why is it safe. Ideally, you want to be practicing this at a quiet time, not rush hour, 8 o'clock in the morning, not school time, not after work. Okay, so you got all the in-betweens. People work at, well, school time's 3, okay, you find at the moment, but normal, when they're back to school, you're looking about 3-ish, half 2, um, and work time is really from there, got maybe a quiet half hour, an hour, and then it's going to be round then. So anywhere between those times, um, this is my first stream, so you're going to have to excuse if I rush through things or whatever. It's practice. What we're going to do is going to have a quick look at this video, and I'm just really going to talk you through merging onto dual carriageways, motorways, and out for why should you feel safe? First of all, as you can see here, like as you can see here, have a slip road. Now, don't know if anyone knows what slip roads are designed for, but basically, slip roads are designed to get speed up so you're same speed as the traffic out there. As you can see from the picture here, the big green signs, they show that this is actually 3 lanes on the motorway onto lanes, which means next to that first lane, when you join that first lane, there is a car there. There are 2 lanes that they cross into. And they don't want to cause any problems at all. They can actually move across. So the first thing is there are 2 other lanes for the car to move. Panic about that. The next thing is slip road is there to gain speed. Now, providing you are gaining speed, providing you are meeting the same speed as they're actually going, they will either slow down or they will speed up. Okay? They won't slow down if you're doing 20, 30 miles an hour less than they are. That makes sense. It's not how people drive on the road. So you have to make sure that you're getting up to speed. Now, if you're staying in a gear a bit longer than usual, so maybe you're in third gear and getting quite high on the revs in third gear, that's absolutely fine. You need a bit more acceleration on the road, up to speed. That's absolutely fine. Issue with that. You don't mess about with the gear. Worry about getting up to speed, meeting the same flow of the traffic. Get through this. Right. So your next thing is to be checking your blind spot. Okay. So don't leave it to the last second when you're getting right to the end of the road. There's something like I need to quick check and then go. No. Want to be checking that blind spot straight away, repeatedly, nice and early, and you need to be holding the wheel nice and firm and not turning your whole body of with your body, and you don't want that. It's keeping the hands and the shoulders nice and firm, and just turning your head and neck only. And it's just checking out the right window and checking the mirror. So if you can see here, you've got a red area and you've got a green area. Green area is where you can see the mirror. you can see here, you can't see any cars on the actual dual carriageway in your mirror at this point. But look over your shoulder, you will be able to see a car there. That's why it's really quick look over your shoulder, nice and early, and it builds that picture up straight away. You trust your eyes. When you're running and you blink, you don't panic that you're going to hit something because your eyes are going to tell you exactly what's. Trust your eyes. They'll pick up straight away if there's there, and you'll know if you need to have another look. So, so yeah, so that's all there really is to a slip road. It's making sure that you get up to the speed correctly, properly, and you're making sure you're checking over that shoulder repeatedly as you're going, and trust your eyes. The main thing is practice. Matter. This is what it comes down to. It really comes down to practice. As long as you're doing the basics right and getting up to speed. I hope that's helped. If you've got any questions about it, tell me what you're wondering. Tell me if there's something I've missed on there. Tell me if you're a driving instructor and you think I've. Oh, that was question 3 by Katie. Question 4 is Dan. To gauge how big your car is from the inside, forward and reverse bay parking. So I'm going to touch on the forward and reverse bay parking. I'm also going to talk about just in general. It's a really good question by Dan. In general, how do you um, gauge the size of your car? So I wanted to have a quick look here. First of all, to gauge your car, easiest and best thing I always do as a driving instructor, whenever I take people to park their car in a car park, um, one of the first mistakes they tend to make is the car's too far forward or too far back. They've got it imperfect. They've got the lines, the car in the lines absolutely spot on, but they've gone just over the lines at the back or just over the lines at the front, or just not far enough in the space. It's just part of the learning. So the easiest and best way to deal with this: stop the car when you've done your park the car, get out and have a look. You think when you park that car, spot on, get out and have a look. Okay? And it sounds so simple, but stand behind the car and it just shows you how much space gives you a far better judgment of where the car should be. Again, at the front, I always think my bonnet's way bigger than it is, and it's taken me so long to repeatedly getting out the car and having a look, realizing that my bonnet's nowhere near as big as I thought it was. It's, half a meter shorter. Best thing you could possibly do. The other thing, now I'm going to just touch on quickly. Say you're going down a busy road like this, busy, cars parked on both. Right? God knows how they're going to introduce or whether they're on about making it park on the pavement. That's for another day. So the best way to do this, first of all, slow down. You go 1 or 2 miles an hour if needed, and you focus on your near side first. So driver's seat, okay, you're going to right seat, focus on that right mirror and judge. So right mirror is, provided your right mirror is not going to hit far away, you're going to be looking left side as well. And it's far easier to judge the left side as long as you've made sure that you're not going to hit anything, but you're close enough to the but it's far easier than left side as well. Next one, the next question we had, who was down? But anyway, the next question was emergency driving test for critical workers. Now this has gone very, very quiet recently, and I wonder if that's just because just a small percentage of critical workers. It's a bit of a joke to me. I mean, it's nice that they're trying to do something, I guess, but percentage is so small, really. Who is able to get a test for critical workers? How'd you do that? Well, if anyone out there is a critical worker and you've experienced this or you've got something booked in, tell me. I'd love to hear your experience with it. Um, but basically, you can't. There's been a bit of a misunderstanding with this. You can't just be part of the NHS. You can't just be a nurse and expect to be part of the working, you know, for a driving test. Basically, a nurse who works on a ward, has done, here, wouldn't be eligible for actually need to be able to drive. As you must be need to be able to drive as part of the job and respond to threats to life as part of the job. So a nurse on a ward, for instance, would um, be responding to threats to life, same as a doctor would be responding to threats of life, wouldn't need to drive as part of the sport. However, if you were training to be part of the ambulance service, then you would be eligible to have an emergency test. The same as it says about local councils, um, providing you working as part of the council that required threats to life um, and required you to be drive again. If you meet both those criteria, then you would be eligible. It's not just anyone that works for the council either. So, for instance, if you were training to be a gardener for the random off the head, not responding to threats to life. So, now how do you go about booking a test? You can't go booking a test yourself. It's not like the first lockdown with Christian workers. No way of doing that. Speak to your employer. Your employer then emails DVSA, explains the situation. Uh, they then book your test through that, or they call them. They then book your test through that. Once you have your testation from your employer, then go and book a driving lesson. I think that. Oh, and it's not available in Scotland as you can see here. So unfortunately, if you are in Scotland, it's you at the moment. I hope that's explained that. If you've got any questions relating to that, then throw them out there. Best. So, next question. This was a nice one. Insurance for under 25s. Again, I haven't put the name. Insurance for under 25s is so expensive. What do you do? Do you just not drive till you're 25? What options are there? So, a little bit of research because I know this is a problem. I remember myself, and if you've ever been, I don't know if you can drive. It was an absolute nightmare. You spent all your money on driving insurance. It's awful. It really is awful. Um, Now there are reasons for it. And the first one and primary one is of crashes there are, a learner driver is 3 times more likely to have an accident than not a learner driver, sorry, a new driver, novice driver, someone who's recently passed the test is 3 times more likely to pass their have an accident than driving for a. So, because of that, the reflection of that is. But how can we try and get around this and help it as much as possible? I did a bit of research. Um, so how can you save money? First thing, make sure you got comprehensive. There's no point getting third-party fire and theft because if you're a novice driver, they know already that you're more likely to have an accident. Therefore, they want you to have expensive. They want you to have best insurance, expensive, sorry, and therefore comprehensive driving insurance is actually cheaper. It's really important to have. Next thing, most important one is car. Now, cars are put into groups. You've got Group 1 cars, for example, here, as you can see, you've got Vauxhall Corsas, Fiat Pandas, Citroen C1s. And then you've got Group 50 cars, which are the most expensive to insure. Range Rover Sports, BMW M6s, etc., etc. You see the cars we're looking at. So I then went across. Oh, you can also look at your excess and your policies. You can look at being a named driver, of course, and this is my biggest advice: get a black box in your car. Don't know a black box basically, and there's a different types of policies you can get, but generally, black boxes will record data and send data to the insurer, let them know, shows that you're abiding by speed limits, not driving erratically, being sensible. Actually, have time sort of curfews suggest that you're not driving after 9 o'clock or whatever else. It's what you agree to basically. policy, and it's just to try and keep you as safe as possible. Now, just pass your driving test, and you're not planning to speed. You're not planning to drive erratically or anything stupid, and to not having a black box. If you do drive sensibly with a black box, some of these policies actually reduce your insurance throughout the year. Again, if you're not driving sensibly, however, and you are driving erratically, breaking speed limits, it can actually increase your insurance and even cancel your insurance policy and let you know which. Um, but it is a way to insurance down and show that you're a safe person, not going to be racist. No. So going back to Group One cars, other question I get loads is what car do I get? Well, here you go. Group One cars, Vauxhall Corsa. So a one low insurance, Group One basically. Fiat Panda, that's your cup of tea. Absolutely perfect car. Citroen C1, Nissan Micra, Smart 44, Chevrolet Spark, Skoda, Volkswagen Up, Seat, Volkswagen Fox, Hyundai, okay, Ford K. Basically, what you want to do is you want to go on Google, you want to search Group 1 cars. Go through there if you're looking at buying a car and get some prices. And that's your best way. Find that with the black box. Reasonable. Now, got any experiences with insurance yourselves? I'd love to hear about them. Get them in the chat. It'd be great to hear about them. But yeah, that's my best answers for insurance under 25. Okay, next question. I go with an intense driving course, or I go with a standard lessons. Okay, and as a driving instructor who tends to do weekly lessons, I'm biased and I'll say weekly lessons, but the right thing as well. So RAC average is 47 hour lessons passing the driving test. This can be expensive. You know, on average driving lessons are £20 per hour. RAC saying my area is 26, but across country. So basically, an intense course. If intense course can be over a week period or over a 2 week period, and it's just intense days, all day driving lessons. That can be absolute knackering. Can be difficult to get information to do it, and they do pass the test. Does it quality to learning? Does, but after does. Right for you. Maybe you've got 2 weeks work and you really need to get it done there and then maybe that's the right direction for you. Now, there is no guarantee of passing your driving test with those, so if you don't pass, you'll then have to go away and either go through the company again or go with a driving instructor, driving test way. But yeah, that's what depends on what best. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the next question. And next question is, what are the highest failures for a driving test? Okay, what causes fail the test the most? Okay, I can't sit the driving test for you, but I can share with you what causes issues. Now, what is interesting is driving test faults. This is from DVLA. This is .gov. Driving test faults reflect the factors that cause accidents. By 39% of driving test faults reflect the factors that. What they're saying is, on your driving test, whenever someone serious fault that causes fail the driving test, percent of those are actually what accidents. Okay, this is why they just let people away with the serious fault and think, oh, I'll be all right. They won't do that. Actually, 30% of accidents on the British roads are due to driving faults from the test that aren't. if that makes sense. Not, let me know. So, top 10 reasons for failing the driving test. Okay, this is from 2017 to 18. I did look at 2008, 19 to COVID. I don't think it's so 17 to 18. Number one is junctions. I don't know, but you must know what junctions are. It's observations, which is basically checking your mirrors. Um, checking your mirrors, approach the junction, and it's looking right, left, and right again, or right, left again. And it's just making sure that you're looking basically. And that's what observations are. Checking all around is just making sure you have a full understanding of your environment around. That is the number one fail for driving tests. Two, I see this a lot, and it's mirrors, changing directions. By changing directions, this means you could be driving down a straight road and then suddenly a row of cars parked on the left side. Gotta always be checking your central and motorbike. Car is overtaking, accident waiting to happen. Again, perhaps you're overtaking a push bike across that road. Right, you need central mirror before doing so. Three, control, steering. This is just correctly steering wheel correctly, making sure that you are actually keeping control of the car. Number four is junctions, turning right. That's very specific. So this is actually turning right. So you imagine you're coming to a junction and you're turning right. The issue with turning right is you have um, more chance of going onto the other side of the road. So if you cut in the corner, this is what happens. If you cut across that line, you're putting other drivers at risk that are coming into the junction of actually causing an accident. So this is why it's so important. Fourth biggest failure. Moving off safely. They're actually driving away safely. Then you've got response to signs, traffic lights, moving off, controls, conditioning, response to signs, reverse parking controls. That's it. Okay, well, I think, boys and girls, that is it for today. Um, I would like to continue doing more streams. I am going to um, carry on. If you've got any suggestions, any content you'd like me to present, let me know, or anything you want to discuss, let me know in the comments below. An absolute pleasure. Next week.